Whither do they call to me? Whither do they call to me?
Like so many popular franchises that have reinvented themselves in recent years, the new God of War dips into the well of open-world RPG tropes. It also shifts its focus to Norse mythology, casting off the iconic Greek gods and legends that provided the basis for every previous game. I dare say it's about time. These major shifts don't signal the end of God of War as we know it. Instead, they allow the series' DNA to express itself in new ways. Santa Monica Studio has converted a furious, bloodthirsty icon in Kratos into an emotionally complex father figure. Part of him retains the old violent tendencies that made him a star so long ago. But now, with his young son Atreus to protect and guide, we also see Kratos take a deep breath and bury his savage instincts in order to set a positive example.
What are you doing? Now his guard is up. Only fire. Only fire. When I tell you to fire.
I'm sorry.
Do not be sorry. Be better.
Thanks to the natural writing, fitting voice actors, and flawless animation, it's easy to get sucked into the duo's journey and buy into their mutual growth. Though he is a teacher, Kratos carries a mountain of grief and self-pity that only the innocence of his son can help him overcome. And Atreus experiences his own ups and downs that might have set him down a very different path if not for Kratos' guiding hand.
Cut it out!
Weak again.
It's the death of his mother prior to the start of the game that thrusts Atreus and Kratos outward from their sanctuary in the woods. Her dying wish was to have her ashes spread atop the highest peak in the land. As if wild predators and ghastly fiends weren't obstacles enough, representatives from the pantheon of Norse mythology arise in an attempt to disrupt their mission, establishing the amplified stakes and the clash of impressive mythical forces that you expect from God of War. And like its predecessors, God of War is a technical and artistic showcase. It is without a doubt one of the best-looking console games ever released, with every breathtaking environment and mythical character exhibiting impressive attention to detail and beautifying flourishes aplenty. The vision behind all of this is evident in Kratos' meticulously grizzled physique and his weathered equipment, in the atmospheric effects that transform believably rustic environments into the stuff of dreams, and in the overall design and structure of the world itself. The majority of your journey is set in the large realm of Midgard. At its heart lies a huge lake that you can explore by canoe at your leisure, with a coastline dotted by optional puzzles, formidable opponents, and entrances to the map's primary regions. Your mission will carry you through to most of these places, and along the way you'll likely take note of inaccessible pathways and glimpses of locked-away treasure. There's always ample room to explore off the main path, and good reasons to give into curiosity regardless. But these teases in particular spur you to re-examine previously visited areas as your capabilities expand. With the boy fighting by your side, firing arrows or choking unsuspecting enemies, you will team up against corrupted cave trolls, face towering beasts, and fight hundreds of intelligent supernatural warriors. Kratos prefers to use an axe these days, which functions very differently than the chained blades of chaos he's known for. This comes with a very satisfying and cool ability to magically summon your weapon to your hand, a bit like Thor and his hammer. It's a move that never gets old. And really, neither does combat in general. The new over-the-shoulder camera brings you directly into the fray, and consequently limits your view. You have to be ready to avoid attacks or turn around and block at a moment's notice when facing a group of enemies. It's rare that you can actually spam combos without putting yourself at risk, and this emphasis on mindfulness solidifies God of War's graduation from the traditional hack-and-slash doldrums. The basic set of close-range combos and weapon behaviors can be expanded by pouring experience points into skill trees and by activating magical rune abilities that bind your two attack inputs. There are a lot of options to consider and tactics to learn, including skill trees for fighting empty-handed. There's a wonderful rhythm to be found when switching from your axe to your fists, and then into Kratos' satisfying brutal execution moves, all the while ducking and rolling out of harm's way. You can absolutely stumble into incredibly punishing enemies that are made easier with the mastery of every available skill, but you can also succeed at any level with adept timing alone. Atreus can't be configured to the same extent that Kratos can, but there are still a lot of ways to tailor his capabilities to your liking. Thanks to the smart button layout, it's actually very easy to both attack and defend as Kratos, while also commanding Atreus to focus his bow on targets in specific ways. You aren't juggling as many actions as you might in a game like Horizon Zero Dawn, but God of War still gives you plenty to do in any given moment, and makes you feel like an experienced warrior in the process. Character customization also extends to the armor that Kratos and Atreus wear, which can influence a range of character stats, elemental affinities, and may also include slots for enchantments that grant further bonuses. Armor can be purchased or crafted using the few resources scattered around the world, and can be upgraded by the game's two blacksmiths.
Have I got something for you two?
Two dwarven brothers constantly at odds with each other. There's Brock, the foul-mouthed blue dwarf,
What? You want a hug?
and Sindri, a far more gentle yet tragically germophobic fellow. A gag that is usually funny, though occasionally pushed a bit too hard.
That handle is
No.
filthy.
As enjoyable as these two can be, it's Mimir that ultimately steals the show.
Take these two worthless wankers and piss off!
The horned, one-eyed sage accompanies you and Atreus for the majority of the game, serving as your guide to Midgard, and an inside source into the ins and outs of Norse politics. God of War's cast is convincing and oddly enchanting at times. But the real accomplishment is how, even though there are just a handful of characters to interact with, their tantalizing anecdotes draw you into the world and imbue the land with a tangible sense of history. If there's any piece of the overarching mission that feels like a letdown, it's the final battle against the primary antagonist. He's great from a narrative standpoint, unraveling in a manner that changes your perspective, but it's the fight itself that leaves you wanting. There are plenty of big boss battles and tests of skill throughout the course of the game. Yet this fight doesn't reach the same heights, and feels like it was played a little bit safe. It could be an effect of configuring Kratos and Atreus just so, or it may just be too easy to begin with. Thankfully, there are hints of more difficult battles to come, and odds are you'll be so hooked by the story's pacing and procession of events that there will be plenty of side activities left after the credits roll. God of War isn't set in a massive open world, but it is stuffed with secrets and quests. Where most games with long and diverse quest opportunities tend to run a bit stale by the end, God of War has the opposite effect. It's far longer than it needs to be, though you hope you never run out of things to do. In many ways, God of War is what the series has always been. It's a spectacular action game with epic set pieces, big budget production values, and hard-hitting combat that grows more feverish and impressive as you progress. What may surprise you is how mature its storytelling has become. Like Kratos, God of War recalls the past while acknowledging the need to improve. Everything new it does is for the better, and everything it holds on to benefits as a result. Kratos is no longer a predictable brute. God of War is no longer an old-fashioned action series. With this reboot, it confidently walks a new path that will hopefully lead to more exciting adventures to come.